Coming up on the HR Big Meat podcast.
Words unheard are powerful. Unless expressed, they devour you. Your soul's speech needs to be freed or it eats away at your heart. That's why poets write. They express their art. It's not a choice, it's necessary release. Keeping quiet is a silent killer. Self-expression is essential mental well-being. If I can help people be heard, then just say the word. My silence is your release. I listen so you can be seen.
Welcome to the HR Big Meat podcast. This is the place where we amplify the voices of women in HR and have honest conversations about what it really means to work in this profession so that nobody has to internalise the idea that they are the problem. We are all about you having sustainable impact without compromise. So expect real stories, just a smattering of swear words, a few uncomfortable truths, and everything that you'd hope from something that is proudly not like normal HR. Are you ready to be a human's resource? Great, let's jump right in. My guest today is Kate Jenkinson, a scientist turned award-winning HR leader who now combines neurodiversity coaching, creativity and performance poetry in her business. Founder of the Poetry in Business Conference and the Association of Business Poets, Kate is known for wearing hats on stage, making people cry in a good way, and helping people reconnect with their authentic voice. We talk about creativity, burnout, belonging, and why so many of us spend years waiting for permission to be ourselves. Thank you so much for joining me today. And if our last conversation is anything to go by, then we could go anywhere with.
Couldn't we just?
With this.
Who
and I
knows?
thoroughly enjoy that and I'm ready for it. So
good.
This podcast is all about amplifying the voices of women in HR, but essentially because too many of us feel unheard.
Exactly.
And we can't use our voice.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, let's give a platform to great voices in HR, right?
Aw,
and
yes.
And that's why you're here. But it's safe to say, or fair to say, also that you're using your voice these days in a unique way.
Yes.
In a way that I'd never experienced before I'd met you. So let's plant the intrigue there, but then let's actually just tell people how are you using your voice?
So at which point my voice went, oh, let's just go quiet and think about this. I'm an introvert, so I thought I'd just go reflective, but I'm using my voice poetically. Let's just say that, which might involve me quoting other poets or turning events that I go to into poetry, spoken word. So the reason I do that is because I've realised that's how my brain works. It works with rhythm and rhyme, and when I just free write, it's all poetic. So I think I've been tuning and training that side of my thinking for the last 10 or 15 years, and frankly don't want to switch it off. Thank you.
Well, quite right. Quite right.
Yeah.
And so have you always been poetic?
I've always needed to express myself in spoken words, so when I was younger I used to write song lyrics. So again, that's poetry, isn't it? People don't realize that poetry are lyrics. Lyric poetry is songs. So I didn't recognize it as such, I guess, but I knew that when I was suffering in the workplace, probably from not being heard, let's just say that, I would have to go to writing workshops to express how I felt about things. So I'd always use poetry as a well-being support for me when I was in senior HR jobs. So yeah, always.
It's amazing actually the power of writing, and like I'll journal sometimes when I'm going through something particularly kind of complex, which actually I didn't know about in-house, but I think I've told you this before. Like I've got a poem. I used to write poems when I was younger.
I bet. See,
I've got a poem.
I knew you were a poet.
Well, I am. You see, I do it now actually, don't I? Sometimes in my posts, and
you do
little things like from the
I notice it.
Yeah, thank you. Someone does.
Yay!
I like writing poems, and I like I don't know. I almost like the cheekiness that you can have with poems. I don't know what that says about me.
Well,
Mine
we know what that says, Emma. You've got personality. There's a song
shut
about
up.
that.
Can't have that.
She's got, yeah, no, I'm not going to sing. I can't sing. I was about to
Okay.
break into the song. No.
So we both want to now.
Yes, it's hard to stop, really.
It is hard to stop. I think what we have in common and where we went with our last conversation was around that like quick creativity piece
Yeah.
of I use mine through humour and comedy, stand-up comedy, and
Yes,
yours is through poetry.
it
And
is now. I did tell you I did a stand-up comedy course, didn't I?
yes,
And I was doing that course and I was thinking, why on earth am I doing this and not performance poetry, which is what I love? I was denying myself the thing that I really enjoyed. And I think as a neurodivergent person in HR, you often put those shutters up and stop yourself doing the very thing that you love because otherwise you are taking over from the managers who need to be the ones who make the decisions or whatever. And yet you've got a passion and a desire and you're holding it back. I
mm,
got so used to doing that I was doing stand-up comedy when really what I wanted to do was performance poetry. So after I did my first and second gig, it was like, that's it, I'm retiring from stand-up. I'm now going to become a performance poet. And I did.
amazing. And was that in at the same time as also being in HR, or did the
Um,
poetry kind of come after?
Let me just think. So here was the typical pattern of my HR career. I'd have a role, it would end. I would do something creative to recover from said role. So it was a creative recovery between roles. And I think it was just before I took my last senior HR role. So you probably heard of Julia Cameron's book, which is what I can't remember what it's called, but Julia Cameron's book, which is about discovering or rediscovering your creative self, and you take yourself on an artist date. And I thought, well, I've always wanted to try stand-up comedy, so I didn't do it for 2 years. I did improv instead,
Wow,
building myself up to doing the stand-up course. And then I did the
wow.
stand-up course. So it's 3 years. I mean, I've got an intermediate qualification in improv
Do
because
you?
I loved improv, yeah. But all of this denying the fact that really what I wanted to do was go to poetry events and do performance poetry. So 3 years later, having done a stand-up comedy routine for an HR networking group, was like, and I thought, no, nobody's listening. I'm even bored of myself here. I'm not funny. So I decided to do the poetry stuff. Yeah. So yes, it was in between corporate roles.
Rose,
Yeah.
that's so interesting that you did improv as a lead up to stand up, because
Yeah.
like for me, stand up's the improv is the thing that you build up to.
Who is it?
Yeah.
I've always done things the wrong way round, Emma.
But
Just
it's just my way. I much prefer being able to script and know, and know the words rather than having to try and find them on the spot. That gives me too much. I don't think my
yeah,
brain works quickly enough to
yeah.
do improv like that.
I think for me, improv was just always about having the unusual response to the sort of what everyone else is thinking. Oh, well, it's going to go that way, and I would go that way, and it'd be like, oh, that's funny because it's not what we thought she was going to do.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And your brain
So
must work quickly now as well, because I've seen you at an event kind of write a poem based on the whole day, and you've brought it together and structured it, and
yeah, I've always been able to synergize whatever's happening. So I guess I'm super sensitive and I take in everything that's happening around me, which is the neurodiversity angle again, which can be completely exhausting unless it's focused on something. So for me, when people say, oh gosh, how do you do that? I go, it's all my strengths combined. I absolutely love taking in everything as long as I don't have to talk to people, being an introvert. So the poetry gives me a chance just to sit and write and let my brain do its thing. I'm
yeah,
in my element. I absolutely love it. And then at the end of the day, people have got this like massive, not massive, got this kind of succinct takeaway of everything they've experienced. And I just have great joy in reflecting back uh, the wonderfulness of people and humans, and particularly those that are marginalised or misunderstood. It's like I can see the beauty in everybody, which I think is a gift, and I like to give it back in this form. Yeah, that's me in my element.
I can see definitely how that plays to your strengths now in the way that you've described it. And then in my head, I'm thinking, and what on earth were you doing in HR then?
Well, isn't it obvious how I ended up in HR? I chose to work in HR. Kind of, it was a bit of well, the short story. Let me try and do the short story if I can. I was a research scientist and I decided I wanted to work in HR. And the logic was I've done a PhD. I am not going to get a job finding endangered ferns in the wild because no one pays you to do that unless it's research. But that's what I was doing. What can I do now to earn money in a career? And I didn't want to stay in the scientific world because it is too uh, let's not go there. I didn't want to stay in the scientific world. So I decided to go to the careers library because I like libraries. Don't you like libraries? I do. And I went to the library and thought, well, what did I enjoy when I was doing my PhD? I liked helping students learn. I earned money by going to practical sessions and helping people uh, learn on their degree course. And I really enjoyed that. And I thought, what is the career that helps people learn and develop and grow? And strangely enough, it was HR. Is because that's what we do, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, all the time. I was shocked when I got my first HR job. It was like, that's not what I did on my training. This isn't how it's meant to be.
Yeah.
People aren't meant to shout at you and tell you that you are not meant to do things that way. I thought,
Mm.
this is very different from the book version of what an HR job is. Having said that,
Mm.
I was a generalist and I every opportunity for helping people to develop and grow, I made that my mission. So I introduced women only development into a manufacturing organisation so that women could have a space where they could be heard and could develop and grow in the way they needed to, not in the way that the kind of engineering environment was expecting them to. So I guess I was seen as an innovator by the positive minded and a disruptor by the ones that didn't see it as a good thing. So yeah, but I could use the science to make an argument for anything.
I love that. I love talking to you. You always got the research and that kind of information backing up what you're
Yeah,
saying as well, which I love. So yeah, that's interesting. The way that HR is sold as a profession is not really what it's like.
I I
In
think we
doing
can
it.
make it what we want. I really do believe that. I think if you read all the textbooks and stuff, when I've read a fair few of them, but then you go, but I'm a person and it's about people. So, how would I like to be treated in this situation? And we can always bring that into everything we do. And if there was anything in my HR career that I am proud of, it's the fact that I always stood by my values of treating people with dignity and respect. Always, even when there were really difficult disciplinaries, or it was like this person needs to go on and still work and still support their family. So how can we do this in a way that is with respect and with dignity? So, yes, it's a hard job made harder if you stand by those values, I think. And I always didn't compromise my values for anybody, which is somehow which is some of the reason I ended up leaving organisations because I would not compromise values.
Amazing. I mean, it's sad that you have to leave to be able to then,
I'm happy
you
though.
know.
I'm not
Oh yeah,
unhappy that I'm not unhappy. I had a brilliant career and I love to give back to the career that, gave me my families, that got my family to where it is today because I was the single breadwinner. My husband looked after the kids. I was the one doing the not 9 to 5, is it? The like I'm going to say 9 to 5. I never worked 9 to 5. Probably 10 till 10 or something like that is more like it.
Yeah. So how do you go from being in HR to doing what you do now? What was the moment that kind of made you do you sort of look for a change?
Well, I got to the point during the COVID when I was up to plan 9 of how we were going to return to an office that clearly we were never going to return to. And I just said in my head, I am fed up of playing these games. I can work this hard for myself and be happier. I was totally burnt out, completely burnt out, just thinking this is pointless work. This is just not benefiting anybody. And I was already a qualified executive coach, and I'd been running my business for 5 years alongside getting corporate roles. So, kind of, I coach people now who are running their own businesses and say, look, um, you have to do what you need to survive. And if it's about survival, great, go back into the corporate role if you need to, but you can only do one thing really well at a time. And that's ironic coming from somebody who's got ADHD and wants to do all the things all of the time. But I realized I just had to focus on the one thing. And when I did that and went back into my business and went, I'm just going to do all things development. So think about my career. I started off wanting to develop people. It's my key strength. Gone into HR. I've tried my hardest to make everything I've done about people development. And I have done, but then I've had to do all the other stuff as well. Then I've, at the very end of it, gone, I'm actually fed up playing those spreadsheet games. I'm going to
Yeah.
go out and do development stuff, and I'm going to do anything that makes me happy and connects me with other people. Surprisingly, that was coaching, performance poetry, and badminton.
Badminton.
I played badminton as well. Yeah.
Amazing. I didn't know that. I didn't know you did badminton as well.
Yeah, I'm the captain of my C team
Are
captain.
you?
Yeah.
Amazing. And did you know, like, oh, I've lost the question I was going to ask. When you left, did you know that there would be such a creative element in what you do?
Yes. I always, so the scientist in me is fascinated that we write poetry. What on earth is writing poetry about? Why has it persisted through years and years and years of human evolution? Because I'm an
Mm,
evolutionary biologist. It's like it doesn't exist. It's like it has a purpose. So, what is the purpose of poetry? And when you actually look into that and the scientific evidence, I said it was for my well-being. It definitely is for well-being. Poetry is how we make meaning of the world around us. And words are something that were pre-literacy. Before we had to, get an exam and be able to comprehend things, we were using words to connect with other people. Words are about connection. So poetry is the way to remember words. It's the way to remember things. Storytelling is a form of poetry. The devices we use, like the order of three, is a poetic device. Alliteration makes things memorable. It's like poetry is not this academic, elite thing. It's something that we all have evolved and have forgotten. It's what connects us. So I think there's a real need for poetic and poetry services in business today as the means to remind us this is what connects us. This is a way of, and it doesn't cost a lot either. Just going to say that, Emma. You know, it's an economy of language. Then I go back to my business mind and go, guys, you're so full of prose and business. I'm trying to think of a non-sweary word for this. Business buzzwords. There you go. You're so full of that. Actually, if you well chosen words have far more of an impact if they come from you. So I
yeah.
spend time helping people create their own leadership mantras, call them a haiku. If you just create what matters to you in leadership in a haiku, that's the essence of what you are as a leader. And everyone's going to use different words and different descriptions. Everyone's unique. So powerful. And the science shows us that poetry, even at end of life, can inspire people with hope because it connects people to what matters, what's meaningful, what's important. Now I'm going to just get off my soapbox.
No, it's brilliant.
So passionate about it.
Yeah, I read a poem the other day actually. It was about death, but it just made me think of that. It was so moving,
Yeah,
so beautiful.
yeah,
And where does this? You and I are both really aligned, right, on this because
yeah,
in terms of yes, the power of words, but also kind of that the how creativity can connect. So my
yes,
route is through humor. I'll make
yeah,
people laugh,
yeah,
and we can deal with really difficult things
yeah,
when we laugh through them.
yeah.
Not in an inappropriate way. I'm not just gonna laugh. Oh God, you're dying. Like that's funny. That's not what I'm talking about.
No, I know it's
Obviously,
not. Obs. Yeah,
obviously, but it is. It's that the creativity. Both of us. It's what it's doing is it's creating connection through feeling and
yeah. Oh,
emotion,
yes.
and like I
Yeah,
make people laugh. That's emotion. That's a human
I make
emotion.
people cry. We're the perfect opposites, aren't we? Everybody needs us.
Yeah, but it does come down to that, doesn't it? It comes down to feeling, and in the workplace, we're just expected to. Oh, well, you don't have feelings now because you walked into this business
Yes, it's not
building.
professional. It's not
Not
professional to have
professional.
feelings, is it? But the thing is, those bottled feelings will explode at some point.
Yeah,
And I've seen it, you've seen it, it's happened to me, or implode. It doesn't have
yeah,
to be sort of fireworks. It can be this kind of turning into a black hole, this burnout, this kind of feeling like your soul has been sucked dry because you've not been able to express who you are.
yes,
um, Creativity is human expression, and words are mine because that's my neurodiversity. Because I am not a visual person, I'm very much a conceptual thinker. So words are my way of making meaning. But I've worked with um, HR leaders who are very visual and use art as a way to sort of manage their emotions and understand them. And that comes into the coaching space sometimes. I kind of encourage people to do creative things when we are trying to reconnect with ourselves,
yeah,
because we often lose that connection in an environment that is not human centric or doesn't create a place where we can thrive. We disconnect from ourselves.
yeah.
That happened so many times when I was in the wrong corporate environment. Yeah, I think we can all resonate with that, sadly.
Yeah, and interestingly, that's recorded a few of these now, and that's kind of come up as a theme of
Mm.
like something happens from a work perspective, and you realise you don't know who you are, like
Yeah,
you don't know what matters
yeah,
to you, and what
yeah,
you like, and what has meaning for you, and what
yeah,
makes you happy,
yeah.
because you just haven't been, I suppose, focusing on it in that
You've
way.
not given yourself permission, but I think it's one of the risks of being in HR is that you put everybody else's needs ahead of your own.
Yeah,
You are in a profession where you might have an opinion or a voice, but it's not necessarily your decision, and you're helping
mm,
other people understand their perspective. That is until you get into strategic positions where absolutely I believe that the HR leader's voice is the most important. Because let's be honest, um, businesses don't start themselves, do they? They're
no,
started by a person who has an idea. Oh my goodness, are they a creative person? They probably are. And then they create opportunities for others to get engaged or employed. So this is the irony that corporate world forgets their origins, which was an entrepreneur who had an idea, who gathered people around them, who created an endeavor and something that was needed. And it's like that's what organizations are. That's the heart of what makes them sustainable and, brands that people love or don't love. It's the human centered nature of them. So,
yeah.
well, I got very passionate then, didn't I?
And even more so with like these days, it's a particularly difficult time for people are really not spending their money. They're not a lot more savvy. They really don't want to be caught out online and things like that. And it is that connection of, do I connect with that person that I'm
Yeah.
talking to? Not necessarily even the concept. It's between us. Do I
Well,
vibe with you? Do I feel something as a result of
all
being with this
decisions
person?
are emotional decisions, Emma. The
Yeah,
thing is, marketing, and there are probably lots of people who I don't want to offend when I say this, and I really don't, but I don't like marketing to pain points. I don't. I don't like to see people as a problem to be fixed.
Yeah.
I like to see people as perfectly imperfect who want to live a happier life. And I market to people's desire to be more themselves, to find their centre, to understand what's important to them and make choices in an environment that actually there are lots of choices you can make, loads of choices. We often sort of limit ourselves by believing that oh, it's not our time, we're not ready, we can't do that. And it's like, no, you've got permission. You have permission to be the best version of yourself. There's only you stopping you from doing that, really.
That word permission comes up like so much.
Yeah,
With the people that I work with too, it's kind of like, why are you waiting? Why are you waiting for someone else to give you that
yeah.
permission to, yes, you know,
Which that is so interesting, right? So I go on random events and anything that I love going doing new things. And the thing that gave me permission was literally a permission slip. I went on an event that said, give yourself a permission slip to do something you really love. And I've still got it somewhere. Oh, I'm not going to get it. It says, I have give you permission to be a performance poet.
is
So
it?
if anyone's listening to this now, get yourself a little slip of paper and write on it permission to. Give yourself permission to do something you really wanted to do but you've been holding back on, and then
Yeah.
watch the magic that happens. I mean, look where I am now, goodness me. I'm running the Poetry and Business Conference. I've just set up the Association of Business Poets. I mean, I'm living the dream here, people, because I did that little permission slip. What,
I love that.
9 years ago? I can't remember now.
That's
Yeah,
brilliant. So you got from that one event, got that permission slip, and then that's just been like, okay, I've got
yeah,
permission
I'm
now. I'm
off.
doing it.
I'm off.
That's amazing. And now, yeah. So now are you working within organisations to bring poetry to them? Like, what does life look like now?
What does it look? Oh my goodness, I'm not sure I can describe it in a sentence. My signature poetry service is a spoken word finale, which I think you're familiar with, Emma. I go to an event and I summarise it in spoken word. And I'm doing that for conferences on, I love this, data and AI governance and master data management. It was a brilliant conference, wonderful keynote speakers. And one of the speakers said to me, because I couldn't go to every event, every speaker, I did about 20. And one of them, and at the end of the session, I said, would you like to hear your poem? And I read it back to the keynote speaker, and he went, oh my goodness, you've just found the soul in my talk. And I'm like, I was moved. I mean, I just made him cry, but then he made me cry back. So he had to have a little hug to feel better.
Oh,
Don't tell my husband. It's fine. He says, what do you do at these events? Oh, I just read poetry. And I'm like, no, I'm
make
going
people
around,
cry.
make people cry and hugging them. And like, yeah. So there's that. And there's a range of conference poetry services. But the other thing that I do with my creativity is I will support other people's events. I'm not, yes, I run my own poetry and business stuff, but I love augmenting other people's events or leadership training with a poetry workshop of some kind, which is helping people find their authentic voice, like I've just said. I've got a little poem I'm going to share with you as well about what happens if you don't share your authentic voice. So, what can go horribly wrong?
Great, you can do that now.
Great, let's do it.
Yeah.
And I wrote this. It says 7th of June 2023. So my brain will just spit out stuff as it feels the mood or the emotion. And I'm sure I wrote it before then. This is called Words Unheard. Words unheard are powerful. Unless expressed, they devour you. Your soul's speech needs to be freed or it eats away at your heart. That's why poets write. They express their art. It's not a choice, it's necessary release. Keeping quiet is a silent killer. Self expression is essential mental well being. If I can help people be heard, then just say the word. My silence is your release. I listen so you can be seen. There you go.
So nice. And it's moving as well. The whole that being devoured words unheard. It's so true. When you're not feeling self-expressed,
Yeah,
this is why a lot of the work that I do, what I do, because
yeah,
when you're not expressing yourself, your confidence goes, your belief in yourself goes, the
yeah,
value that you think you have goes,
yeah.
because you're just not self-expressed, and
No,
that and sometimes the environment you're in makes you feel that you can't be self. Sometimes it's not safe to express
no,
yourself.
no. There are a huge amount of people who are living in organisations in survival mode,
Mm,
um, and it doesn't ever feel safe to be who they are. Ironically, some of those organisations talk about, oh, you can belong here, and you're like, yeah, right, yeah, I
yeah,
can, as long as I don't wear this version of my personality. Um, so yeah, it's important to recognise if you are feeling that way. There's people in our network I know who have got much more experience of supporting people with burnout, for example. Had my own experience of that, and I think you talked about that when you just lose all connection to what is important or matters to you. And I used the EAP service once, went along for some counselling, and she said to me, here's a piece of paper, flip chart size piece of paper, Kate, put everything on there that you love doing. I'm like, can I just have a post-it note or something? I can't do because that's too big.
yes,
There's nothing. I've got nothing to
yeah,
put
yeah,
on that paper. And I went home and I was really distraught with myself because it's like to be without words as somebody who loves them, not able to express what it was that brought me joy or made me
yeah.
happy. I realized I'd completely lost myself. Um, and anyway, that was something that I learnt. You have these moments of learning, don't you, in your career, in your life. And I go, that's a boundary I never want to cross again. I never want to get to a point where I don't know myself. And eventually I was able to put things on that flip chart. I've still got that flip, but I keep things. I've just, I've got that somewhere, that flip chart, because it's like, this is important. This is an important
Yeah.
moment in my life. There is a paper with words on that I burnt, just want to say, because I was very hypersensitive to words hurt me a lot when I hear them and people throw them away. And I captured all those words and I wrote them on an image that I then ceremoniously burnt with the family surrounding me so that I could let go of those things that
Mm.
in the past had been critical. I recognise as someone neurodivergent with RSD, that's what was happening. Those words were having a power over me that I was letting them have. So, write yourself a permission slip, write all the words down on a piece of paper that you want to burn. Get some great tips here, aren't you?
So good, such great tip. Really good. And interesting the different way of using the words then of like, yeah, we've talked about words for joy. We haven't even talked about the words that are sticking around and like hurting us, and
Yeah.
that yeah, that we're again
Beating
internalizing and
ourselves up with. And we
yeah,
let them in, I mean, how many people have been called human remains or, and I hate that. And I know that, you and Michelle tip that around and give us other sort of like humans resourced. And I used to say, well, I'm not, we're all resourceful humans. I'm here to help you be resourced. So we use the words to flip the script, but there are so many people want to see us as in HR as not people, as not human. And that hurts. So yeah, let's reclaim the words to mean what they are: humans, resourceful
yeah,
humans. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I'm totally down for reclaiming words.
Are you?
It's
What's
interesting.
your
It's interesting.
favourite word, Emma? I'll put you on the spot.
Oh no.
Do you have one? I love that. Express. What does that mean? Can I say it?
That means why why are the only words I can think of swear words?
But yeah, I love it. I love it. You were going, I'm going to say it. No, I'm not going to say it.
No.
I don't know.
I do love a swear word though. I just think a good timed, well-placed swear word is a great emphasis. I know not
It
everyone's going
is.
to agree with that, but I do.
And it's funny as well. It can be hilarious, can't it? You put it in the right place.
In the right place, the right timing. I just think it's, yeah, I'll have a think about that. I like, now I'm just thinking of all words that have meaning to me. Like my daughter, instead of saying flamingo for a long time, said flamingo. And it's
Oh,
just things like that are coming to me now of different, you
oh,
know.
I love that. My son used to call radiator radigator, which I wrote a poem about.
I'm sure you did.
Well, what doesn't everybody? It's like that's an interesting word. I'll write a poem about that.
Amazing. Oh, I didn't know where this conversation was going to go, but I love where it's. You made me think. You've moved me. I've gone through a journey of emotion in this
Oh,
conversation, which is what I think it's all about. Really, is how when you know that being more human at work is the thing that's going to make a difference, then what better way of achieving that than by feeling things
I
and
think
by,
so.
joy, sadness, fun, laughter,
All
that's
the emotions, all
all
of
of them.
them. I want to read you my radiator poem now
Go
because
on
I think
then.
we should finish on a bit of
All
ridiculousness.
right then.
So remember, this is the word for radiator. The radiator is a silent predator, hiding under windows, a frozen wallflower all summer, cold-blooded until needed or until bled, waiting for your winters then when well-fed, emitting energy with hot-blooded head for homely warmth.
Brilliant. So good. Your way with words is just brilliant. And I know you said that we should end on some frivolity, but I wonder if there's like one piece of advice and you've given so many tips, but if you had like one thing that for anyone who's not currently feeling self-expressed or not currently using their voice, one thing you'd say to them to try or think about differently.
Oh, um, trust yourself to know yourself and get to know yourself maybe by writing words down. So Julia Cameron talked about free writing. Whenever I feel utterly overwhelmed, and I often used to in my HR career, I didn't do this, I wished I'd known about it then, is to just sit and set yourself a timer for even just 5 minutes and write out everything that's in your head. And just the act of writing is you taking control of those unruly, overwhelming thoughts and emotions. And what you'll find is you've suddenly externalized on a piece of paper the angst and the frustration. You've got words. And if even if your mind's blank, right, my mind is blank, my mind is blank. Keep writing for the 5 minutes until you've expressed yourself. You don't have to do anything with that piece of paper then, but you might be surprised at the things that come out. Often I write poetry, surprise, and you'll get to know yourself better in that way. And you don't need Chat GPT for that. You don't need to ask them because they'll just tell you you're amazing and wonderful, and you are, of course, but it's biased. And if you want to understand how beautiful you are, then I do poetry consultations one on one. Sorry, did I just sell a bit? I didn't mean to sell. Oops.
Brilliant. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and yeah, I'm just grateful to have shared these words with you, Kate.
Oh,
Thank
thank you,
you.
Emma. Thank you for giving me permission to be myself and yeah, show up with enthusiasm for professional love and helping people find their voice. Thank you.
My Lord, I just want to have a conversation about professional love now because I just think
Yeah, should
that
we
is
do
exactly
that?
what the word
Should we
is. Oh
carry
my
on?
God. We should.
Let's not stop.
Let's do it. Let's do another one.
Yeah,
Deal. Thank you, Kate.
thank you.
Now, let's make this mean something. Kate is such a beautiful example and role model for self expression. Who'd have thought that poetry had its place in the world of work? But here she is going out and making it so. And what I love about her story is that she's leaning into something that has always been true for her. She has always used writing, poetry as a way of dealing with the things that are going on around her. And now she has, rather than suppressing that and using that only in the times of hardship, she's using it throughout her life and throughout her work. And it's bringing her great joy. You can see how she lights up when she talks about it. And it's just magical watching her and hearing her and the way that she moves people. I think underlying her story is so many different threads that I could take you down in terms of what you do next, in terms of moving this forward and making meaning for yourself. First up for me, there's a part around like how we're perceiving situations might not be the truth. And just a great example from Kate of, I think you might perceive that in the world of work, there's no place for poetry and there's no place for meaning and emotion in that way. And yet here she is running poetry sessions at the end of data conferences. Like it's just cool. And it shows that actually sometimes how we interpret the world to be isn't necessarily the truth. And her notion of permission slips, if we were just to give ourselves permission to do something that brings us joy or that makes us happy or that makes us feel something, we just give us that permission slip, our own permission slip, we can go on and do anything. It's just lovely to see, and I hope that you've enjoyed the conversation with her. So how do you move this forward? And I think the root of all this has to come down to emotion and what we're not allowing ourselves to feel and what we're not allowing ourselves to process properly. So for me, there is something around, what emotions are you not allowing yourself to feel in the name of professionalism? Is it anger? Is it sadness? Is it something else? What are you ignoring or suppressing or pushing down emotionally? And what impact is that having on your behaviour? Reflect on the emotions that you're like, I could never be angry at work, or I could never cry at work. And just ask yourself why that is. But the thing that I want you to take forward, I think, and to actually turn into action, more than just reflection, because we can think about this stuff all the time, all day long. Thinking's great. Doesn't actually do anything. Sorry. What I want you to actually do is to practice some form of self-expression. Now, whether that is journaling when you're feeling really angry, whether that is writing poetry, it's easier, I think, to write it down than it is to perhaps express what it is that you're feeling. So that's what I'm going to encourage you to do. When you are feeling something, allow yourself to process it through writing and see what difference it makes. It might make none at all. You might hate it, but it is a start. It is a stepping stone into properly expressing yourself. And I really mean it when I said how much Kate's poem resonated, that self-expression, the lack of self-expression can be so damaging. Whatever you can do to start to get your truest self out in the world, whether even if that's writing on a post, like a swear word on a post-it note. You know I'm a fan of swear words, I just told you that I am. That's a start. So give it a go, see what happens, and just experiment. That's what it's all about, right? If you have enjoyed this episode, can I ask you a favour? Please could you interact, leave a review, share it with your friends, do whatever you can to help get this in front of other women in HR who might need to hear the stories that we're sharing. Thank you. I appreciate you.